So why we're here today, we're actually going to start off with a couple polls. So check them out in the chat, and we'll touch on them and review them momentarily. So why we're all here today? Franchise and multi-location brands lose a lot of revenue in one specific moment, when a lead reaches out and no one answers. This is not a lead quality or marketing problem; it's a capacity gap, and is the highest value entry point for the AI for workforce adoption. By the end of today, you will understand how that pain hits both franchisor and franchisee, how the AI receptionist functions as the direct answer to that follow up gap, calculate the dollar opportunity across your network, and convert a single location win into a multi location expansion pitch. So, our host for today, leading us through it all, is Braden Gaudet, Senior Account Executive here at Vendasta. Braden, off to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Rashida. Cool. Guys, well, I'm excited to chat with you. I have been at Vendasta for about 5 years now. That is a lifetime in tech. And before this, if you can believe it, I was actually a journeyman electrician, which is quite the shift. When I started here, I had 0 kids. Now I have 3. It's been a wild journey. So my goal today is to help you learn the franchise space and solve their problems. My focus as an enterprise account executive is actually in the franchise and multi-location space. So I'm going to run you through some things today that I have seen be incredibly helpful to our partners. So what we will do is, if you guys have questions or any comments you want to make throughout this, make sure you're putting them in the chat or the questions in the Q&A to keep everything organized. Like Rashida said, Rashida and a couple others on my team here are managing the chat, and I'll be going through the presentation. But really, why does this session matter? I saw the poll. I saw you guys are, some of you guys are really looking to get into the multi-location space or the franchise space. And some of you guys, you're saying, hey, that's not really what I do. That's totally okay. I think it's super beneficial to understand the problems these businesses face anyway. We're going to focus primarily on the conversation gap, the capacity gap that happens at a lot of these locations, but there's so much more that happens with these businesses that Vendasta can help solve. And whether it's a franchise location, which essentially is an SMB, or you're looking to expand to the entire network of the franchisor or the brand itself, I'm going to go over some things that are very, very powerful. Now, why does this matter? Truthfully, what we've seen is that if you can win with one location and you can use AI or some kind of system, maybe you guys do it yourself, to build a case study as to what actually worked for that location, you can open the door to the whole corporate brand. Now, if you can get a champion at that location, they can intro you. If you can't get a champion at that brand or at that location, you can use the case study you have to introduce yourself. Now, I'm going to go over a lot of this today, but what we're focusing on is when a lead reaches out, no one answers in time, revenue goes to a competitor. That's the same in most businesses, but it's especially painful in the franchisor, franchisee, or multi-location brands. By the end of this, you should have a really good understanding of the pain in this space. You should know the solutions that Vendasta has that you can offer to solve that pain. You should be able to calculate the opportunity off of the one location you're working with and convert that opportunity to a pitch to the whole brand. Now, my question to you guys, and there's a poll that's going to be posted here if it isn't already. What is the biggest challenge franchise or multi-location brands are facing? I'm going to give you a couple seconds. I find this a very interesting question because there are very, very many answers. There's a lot of answers to this. But it looks like missed leads is what you guys are thinking. Truthfully, it's all 4. Now we're going to focus on missed leads. And I'm sorry for ruining the answer for a few of you there, but it is all 4. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. but it is a very, very powerful thing to learn how to solve these through Vendasta's solution. Now, when we talk about it, there is consistency across brands. I'm going to help you guys understand why these are pains ideally, but consistency across brands are massive. Most business owners did not become business owners to become marketers. They have people doing that work for them. A brand or a multi-location group or a franchisor really sets the tone for each location. The hard part is getting each franchisee to follow that. Now, the second part of this is easy UX UI for adaptability and truthfully just adoption. Because what happens is if the franchisor purchases a piece of technology, but the franchisee had no say in that technology, or maybe they find it hard to use, there's friction there. And that is something the franchisors find very difficult. So keeping it all in one place, you can imagine, would be very valuable. Scalability across brands. We're not going to talk about this a whole lot, but you can imagine if you purchase one piece of technology, how long does it take to scale that across 50 locations, 100 locations, 1,000 locations? Most of the times it would be weeks or months. Vendasta has a tool called account templates. If you don't know about it, we're not going to talk about it too much on this call, but you should look it up in the resource center. You can scale it. You can scale across these brands to many, many different brands, to many different locations in minutes instead of weeks or months now. Very valuable tool. I just don't have a whole lot of time to talk about it today. And then reporting on everything. You know, what happens a lot of the time, and I'll probably talk about this a little bit later, but reporting on everything. Corporate wants to know how the money they're spending is going. What is working? What is not working? Franchisees want to know that the money they're being forced to spend is working. And both individuals they have the same goal in mind. They want growth. They want success in their business. But the problem that happens a lot of the time in this space is that the franchisor has this tech stack. The franchisee doesn't like this tech stack. So the franchisee goes rogue and buys their own tech, which now the franchisor loses visibility on. All four of these Vendasta solves, and here's how. So consistency across brands. Consistency across brands is one of the best things Vendasta has. We have a social marketing tool that you can post for each location if the franchisor is handling that. You have reputation content and AI employees that learn your brand guidelines so that it never goes off course. And they can manage it from one place. So they set the standard once and it works for all locations. Easy UX or UI for adoption and adaptability. This is our multi-location dashboard for the corporate office or the multi-location users. And then we have the individual location dashboard for each franchisee where they see their own stuff and nobody else's. Very easy to use. And we have a bunch of resources for you guys to white label and give it to your clients so they can actually walk through videos on how to use it. Easy. Scalability across brands. I talked about this a little bit already, but account templates. We want to be able to scale across all of the locations with as custom of a build as possible. So if you have AI agents that are trained on the location, they have specific capabilities or knowledge, you don't have to set it up on every account anymore. You can copy and paste it. You're essentially dragging and dropping it. It's an unbelievable tool. And then reporting on everything. Again, multi-location dashboard and single location dashboard. This is going to be very, very important for these franchise and multi-location groups. You just need to know how to present it. Now, what we're talking about primarily, what we just talked about in the last couple slides is all of the problems. One of the biggest problems is the lead drop-off, and there's a reason for this. Generally, each lead is paid for twice. There's 2 budgets, 1 funnel, and no answer. Each franchisor, each brand has something called an FDD, a franchise disclosure document. In that franchise disclosure document, there is money allotted to certain things. This might be a tech fund. This might be an ad fund. This might be a marketing budget, a marketing loyalty fee, or whatever that might look like for each franchisor. Each by law has to have an FDD, and you can find these FDDs online. So you can do your research before you ever talk to the brand. Then each franchisee generally has a mandatory local marketing budget. If you know anything about marketing development funds, it is very similar. A mandatory allotted amount of money that they have to spend on local marketing. Generally, the franchisor has approved vendors that can be used, that this marketing can be used on. But as I mentioned earlier, franchisees typically like to go rogue, find their own tech stack that they find is much better. But the purpose of all of this money that's getting spent is for the client, the customer, to see great reviews, find the business online, come across the social media and relevant posts, or click an ad that is created by an agency or by the brand. This will lead them to the website where they will submit a form, maybe call the location or send an email, but the form sits unread, the call rings, but no one picks up. The email sits in the queue and it goes unanswered. Now, what happens here, and I've just been told that my webcam is smudged, so did that work? Perfect. They're going to go and book with a competitor. They didn't get the answer in a timely manner. And if you, as a user, are looking for an emergency situation, maybe it's like heating, air conditioner, something like that. If it's retail, people generally sell the same things. You can just find somebody else who does the exact same thing. So what happens? Where the lead actually dies. The lead calls or messages, the phone rings, the chat sits unread, the staff is busy with someone else. There's no follow-up that gets logged, and they lose an opportunity. Remember, this is an opportunity that has been paid for twice. And now the franchisor or the franchisee has paid for a lead for the competitor. Now, what we're looking to do is we're looking to fix this primarily with the AI Receptionist. You guys have heard this before. If you've been on a couple of these webinars or you heard Vendasta talk about this AI Receptionist and you're getting sick of it, I guarantee you it's because you're not using it. This tool is phenomenal and it's winning deals across the board for a lot of our partners. There's 2 versions of it. There's the voice and the chat. The voice, as you can imagine, requires a lot of setup. It's going to work out of the box, but each individual location you talk to is going to want to change the tonality. It's going to want to change the voice. Is going to want to change how long it takes to respond. All of this is stuff we can do in our system, but it will require tweaking. What we recommend to people is you start with the chat. The chat's phenomenal. 24/7 answers if people are not at work, if people are busy, if someone tries to call and the phone doesn't get picked up, missed call, text back. They will immediately get a text if you've set it up through the platform where they can continue that conversation, where they can continue to engage with your business versus going to a competitor. Form gets filled. We can send a message saying, hey, thank you for filling out the form. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me here. Nobody on your team has to manage that. The AI has learned your business. It understands your business. And it can engage with that customer again so they don't go to the next person on the list. Same with email, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. You can connect to all of these different systems so no lead gets left behind. Most businesses do not have the capacity to do that work. Most businesses, when a lead comes in, they're busy. So we take that completely off of the table. We can make sure those leads are talked to. So before, what happens is a missed call piles up, staff handles a walk-in or something else, they don't get to the phone, they don't even know they missed the lead. It's gone. So that lead's paid for, like I said, twice, and the competitor got it. After ideal situation, every call and chat gets an instant on-brand response, day or night. This means that if they're messaging you at 2 a.m, they can have that conversation. You don't need to hire VAs in another country. You don't need to have staff working around the clock. You can still manage those conversations. Your staff can be brought in for the closing, but those conversations do not go unanswered. What we've seen across brands is about every location misses 30% of the leads that are guided to them. We have a couple case studies on this. You can check out our case studies pages. It's across the board. We're helping them capture those leads. Now, I have talked a lot. I think there's value to seeing the demo itself, especially of the dashboards. The AI Receptionist, very easy to set up. But what I want to do is I want to show you the dashboards and how a franchisor or a franchisee can actually use this to make their life so much easier. So let's start in the multi-location view. And I just want to make sure you guys can see this. Perfect. Multi-location view is where you can set up a group of businesses under one dashboard. In this view, we can see pretty much everything we want to see based off of the products and services for marketing that they are using. You can see the location, and you can click on each location to see what tech they actually have turned on. So if people aren't following the brand guidelines, if people aren't using the mandatory budget, you can see right here what they're using. Very powerful tool. If we go into each different tool, we can actually manage it across all brands. We can see who's winning, who's losing, who's taking forever to respond to a review. We can see every single review that comes in. And you can see insights on what people are saying about your brand. You can imagine how powerful this is for a corporate-owned franchise. For a franchise business where the franchisor wants to see how things are going, this is a very, very good tool, because what they can do is they can focus on the negative, or they can focus on the positive. Maybe they want something for their ad campaigns. Let's focus on the positive, double down where we're good. And on the negative, maybe they can figure out where they need to focus in terms of help their franchisees succeed. And that's just reviews. Again, every single review in one place. You can filter by location, or you can look at each brand or each location from one dashboard. Net Promoter Score, also really good. If you don't know about that, that's a whole nother conversation around the reputation tool. But right now, what we're looking at is how could a brand owner or a franchisor use this? Listings, SEO. How is each brand comparing? Are they doing good? Are they doing bad? Where are they losing? Right now, these brands you can see right here, and this is typical for most businesses. They don't even know what listings are. Listings are a great way to boost your SEO. Most franchisors might have a marketing team that does this, but most franchisees don't. So you can come in, you can support in this, and for you guys, it's 2 clicks, it's set up, and you're just collecting the retail over wholesale. Very powerful tool. Going to get them found where people are looking for them. Also boosting AEO, not just SEO. Social, this is a very powerful one for each individual brand, because what they can do is they can create posts for each location, or they can post across groups. I can do the entire group, or I can do each location, and I can use AI to create these posts. We have a new tool called Social AI. They're actually talking about it next week on August 4th. You should plug into that one. This tool is incredible. You no longer have to write the post to AI. You just tell it what you want and it'll build it for you, and it'll schedule it across your entire network or your entire social presence. But what we can do is we can turn on these AI personalized content. So I can create one post for all of my locations, but if they're in Houston or if they're in Atlanta, it will use the specific data to that location to build out those posts. Scalability here is insane. Now, the backside of this is we can see again what kind of review or what kind of social presence you're getting. Are you reaching people? Are you not reaching people? How many posts are you putting out? Where do people need help here? And then an executive report to tie this all in. Again, we're talking about the franchisor right now being able to see all that data in one place. And we're talking about the franchisee getting easy to use tools with an easy to use dashboard where they can also see all their information in one place. This is very powerful because most of these brands just want unification across their network. What we've found over the last handful of years in the franchisee space or the franchisor space or multi-location, it's all the same. Everybody knows everybody. So if you win with one, you can expand to 100 because they will talk about it. It's one of those things that word of mouth is still the best marketing out there. So if you can win with one, that's the goal. Conversations, I don't know if this one has any in here. It's not a great test account. Let's go into an individual account and I'll show you what happens with those conversations. So we've just looked at the franchisor branding platform. What we now want to do is look at the franchisee. The franchisee location-based platform will show all of the products and services they have turned on for them specifically. So if I want to see how I'm doing with my local SEO search, I can click on it and it's going to show me. If I want to see how my reputation's doing, I can manage, I can send out NPS score, I can request reviews, respond to reviews, all from one place. And if I want to put out social posts across my platforms, I can do that all right here. The best thing about this is it can be forced to stay under the brand guidelines. The actual franchisor or the multi-location business owner has eyes on everything that goes out. So if someone deviates, they can fix it. The conversations piece, the AI workforce. Again, I'm not going to dive into this a whole lot because right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you see the problems and see the solutions. There will probably be another webinar that dives into these tools specifically, and you should definitely plug in for those. But each lead, whether it's a form, whether it's a phone call, whether it is a missed call text back, we'll be able to go through the platform. The AI can take over that conversation, can do an immediate outreach, and you can see that conversation continue. Again, why this is important is this is the highest value entry point for any brand. We're seeing this across the board. 78% of customers buy from whichever business responds first. 21 times more likely to convert a lead if they respond within the first 5 minutes. And 55% of companies still take 24 to 48 hours to respond to a new lead. You've already gone to the next person. With this, you can fix that entire funnel. Now, we want to talk about how this works from one win to a network-wide expansion. What this means is you've won with one location. The first goal, get your foot in the door with one franchisee. You can go to corporate directly, but I promise you, I've seen it year over year over year. Unless you know somebody, it's a very hard way to get into a business. What you want is a proof of concept. You want a proof of work. So you get in with one location, and we're going to try to expand into it, because what we're going to do is we're going to build a case study. A case study around this is focused on the biggest pain. We don't know how much traffic their website is getting. And in fact, a lot of these franchise brands get a lot of spam traffic. So they deal with that too. The AI Receptionist can make sure they're not wasting their time with the spam. But what we want to do is we want to see how much traffic they're getting to the website, how many leads come in from the AI Receptionist. Then we want to see out of those leads that come in, how many closed. Once you figure that out, what's the average deal value of the closed lead? So if it's $1,000 times 10 closed in a month, $10,000 of revenue, right? Then we want to times that by the number of locations in the brand. Because if that is 10 locations, $10,000 times 10 locations, that's $100,000, right? If it's 100 locations, well, now you're talking million. This becomes a really good way to open the door to these different brands. We want to be able to build that case study, show the proof of work, show the proof of concept. What's amazing about when you do this once is probably the franchisee, if you've super served them, if you've helped them every step of the way, if you are truly trying to win their business, to help their business, they're going to speak to the other locations for you. Most of these franchisees or franchisors have an event, like a company-wide organizational event where they have to go and they have to attend, and they all talk. What's working? What's not working? You can prepare them with these case studies. So they go out, they share their story. You have more people reaching out to you. The more people that reach out to you, the more case studies you can build, the better chance you have at approaching corporate. We recommend that every step of the way. We know that this is not the easiest market to break into, but if you know a franchisee who's going rogue, corporate hates that. So you can get in there, have a conversation with them. Maybe you're the reason they go rogue, unfortunately, but that's going to be a win for corporate in the long run. It's worth the conversation. Everybody wants the big deal first. I guarantee you it's a longer play, but if you focus on getting in at the ground level, you can expand quite drastically, quite fast, especially with these tools when they deliver the kind of results they do. I mentioned it earlier, 30% of leads get missed across the board. 30% is a wild number. If you've seen some of our case studies, that can turn into 7 figures of revenue. Because lots of these companies, what they are is they're home service businesses. So check out those case studies. Make sure you're doing your research on what the actual value is, so you can approach these guys with an actual talk track, with a script. But how you actually do this, what we want to do is we want to anchor on the number. The biggest thing that these franchisors and franchisees see is they're going to see the missed lead count and the dollar figures. So whatever that might be, you know, their average deal size is 6,000, 30% leads missed, and they have a close rate of 50%. do the math, approach them with the math, and then name the solution. In this scenario, it is the Conversations AI or whatever you rename it to. Then when you show them that tool, you're going to end up showing them the dashboard where they're going to see the value of all the other solutions you offer, because they're going to be able to see the multi-location availability for you to pull in those accounts, see it in one spot, and then you just frame it as a way to reduce the cost of leads or reduce risk. This is the approach every one of our partners that is in the multi-location space that we work with closely, that is winning these deals. This is what they focus on. There's a whole nother side of this for corporate, which is franchise development. I'm not going to get into that a whole lot, but franchise development is the ability to sell franchises. And it's usually corporate, it's usually a small team. So they don't have the manpower to do a lot of this work. You can use the exact same tool with Conversations AI to help them sell more franchises. And then you can help them sell more franchises, which need more marketing to get ramped up quicker. And you're just winning across the board. There are multiple entry points, but we do recommend the baseline with one franchisee. Now, key takeaways from this. This is something you can screenshot if you want, but I have franchise pain points. What are the biggest issue? Leads being missed. Well, what's the direct fix? The AI Receptionist. UI UX is hard for the business owners. They aren't tech savvy. They did not get into business to be a marketer. What's the fix for that? It's the business app dashboard, the single location, the franchisee dashboard. Brand consistency. The franchisors struggle with this. How do we keep everybody on point? Well, you can set up brand guidelines through the AI Receptionist or the knowledge base. Scalability. It's brand templates. I didn't talk about it a whole lot, but I'm sure somebody will. If you need to find it in your login dashboard, if you click the question mark at the top right, look up brand templates or account templates there, and it'll walk you through it. Rogue franchises. Now, this is a one. Rogue franchises are the ability or the individual franchisee who goes out and finds their own tech. That's the franchisor's loss, but it could be your win. But you can solve this by becoming a preferred vendor and then offering your entire tech stack all in one place. Both the franchisee and the franchisor are going to love it. Because as soon as a rogue franchise goes out and gets different tech, the franchisor has no reporting. No reporting is solved through the multi-location dashboard. So hopefully those 2 points right there give you the arsenal you need to get in the door, to open the door and have these conversations with these locations. This is real problems that they are paying hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix. It's worth starting the conversation. Now, the math. You need to understand the math. You probably won't be able to figure out the math until you have one case study, which is why we recommend the case study first. And then the pitch, use the numbers from the case study you built to get in the door with corporate. If you're trying to get in the door with the franchisee, it's as if you're selling to an SMB, another locally owned business. Remember, these are people that live in a certain town that bought into a certain business, or live in a certain city that bought into a certain business. They are essentially local entrepreneurs. Offer them solutions like they're local entrepreneurs. If your solution's good enough, if your conversation is good enough, if you help them see the value, you will win. So really, that's all I had for today. I hope that added some value to you guys. I haven't been able to watch the chat at all through this, so I will check it out after. I know we do want to pause for some Q&A here, so I will kind of open it up. Okay. How do you ensure social AI maintains brand standards across guidelines? Do you guys like seeing or do you like talking? What I can show you is the AI workforce. The AI workforce is where you can come in and you can configure the social AI tool. So if you're using the AI, you have this configured tool where you can set the role. This is a brand guideline spot where you can set how you want it to act, capabilities to follow certain tasks, solving with certain features. So I like to think of capabilities as you're giving it the way to complete the task you want completed. That's what a capability is. It might use external sources, but you're really just giving it the game plan to solve a task. And the knowledge source is where you put the brand guidelines. This is really, if you're using the AI piece, this is where a lot of that comes into play. If you are not using the AI piece and you're going into the social AI tool, if I launch this tool, now this is a fairly new offering, so I'm going to make sure it's here. But we have brand templates. I don't think it's in here. So what will happen, and this is coming very shortly, is you're going to have the ability to pull from the brand templates. If you're in the multi-location dashboard, it is there on some accounts. But what it does is we can go in and we can make sure that the information they're pulling from is part of the brand guidelines. So they can't post their own images. We can set the images. It looks like it's not here yet either, but it is released. It's in beta testing right now for a lot of our partners. Right here is where it will show up. This is a test account. And it looks like it's not turned on for the test account. So sorry for the vague answer, but for the AI chatbot, it's possible today. For the individual posting, it's available. It's coming very, very soon through a brand guidelines like repository. That is my answer to that. Yeah, 100%. So I spoke to a prospect who has 7 different businesses. He just became a client. Essentially, they're different businesses. Can he manage them from the multi-location dashboard? Yes. You choose which accounts go in there. So you can give him access to it where he can go in and he can just view the accounts that go into each group. Again, I'm kind of a shower, not much of a teller, but here's how you would do it. We're going to go into the partner center, which is like where you would build out your account. I'm just going to log into one that I can actually show you guys. One sec. So under accounts, you can build out multi-location groups. Again, this is dependent on which plan you're on at Vendasta. But in the multi-location groups, you can create a group depending on what you want to pull in here. If you want to add certain accounts to the multi-location group, you can do it. Here's a good example. This is all different companies. And this is actually just a test account, but this is just to keep your eyes on the reporting for every individual brand. So it doesn't matter if they're the same brand specifically, like an A&W or, you know, whatever, a Chick-fil-A. It could be a plumber. It could be an electrician. It could be an HVAC guy. It could be a retail store. It doesn't matter. You build it out. You have full customization of that. Can be difficult for the franchisee to get corporate to put the AI receptionist on their location page. Any tricks? Yeah. Don't try to put it on their location page. Set up missed call text back. set up form fill messaging, prove it out that way in terms of messages back and forth. And then the franchise location, the franchisor corporate, they will see the value in that alone, that saying no to the web chat on the web page, it's kind of a no-brainer for them to turn around and say yes. What we see is it depends on the actual business themselves, because if you have a franchisor who has a business built where they do subdomains versus individual landing pages, they don't like to give a lot of access to that because they don't want their franchisees messing with it. So prove it out through form fills, missed call text back, direct texting or direct phone calls. And from there, you will have a case study to share why the web chat is so valuable. Also, if you have any clients that are using the web chat and you have data on them, use it. It doesn't have to be a franchisor or a franchisee to use it as a case study. Remember, each location is essentially an SMB. They just have a network that helps them do their marketing. So hope that helps. Yes. So there will be one. All right, Keegan, I know you. What you can do is you can set up automations. Now, each location would need a chat bot turned on, but what you can do is you can go in and you can build out automations so that if a chatbot is pulled in with a specific, a customer is pulled in with a specific zip code, you can guide the conversation through a webhook or an API to the location dashboard, where that AI can take over the conversation and pull into that specific location's CRM. So this solves, and thank you for asking this solves a lot of lead routing problems in the franchisor space. It is not something that probably any individual would be able to go in and set up if you don't understand webhooks, APIs, integrations, automations. But that's why you have an account manager at Vendasta or the support line. Definitely reach out. We can all help you. How do you ingest leads that are emailed or texted into the CRM automation? Into the CRM automation or others provided by franchises often paid for my franchisee. How do you get all leads into the CRM? So it depends, okay? If you feel Zapier is clunky, Vendasta is open source. You can connect directly if Angie is open source. We do have the connections with Angie and a couple other CRMs in the system. Generally, there is a button that you can click that turns on two-way sync. Two-way sync means whatever happens in our CRM happens in their CRM, and whatever happens in their CRM based on the endpoints happens in our CRM. So if you feel like Zapier is clunky, I honestly don't struggle with Zapier that much. I do find it very valuable for me and a lot of my partners, but there are ways around it. And if you find the integration in the system, like you're saying, Angie, I don't know if we have a direct integration with Angie, but you can use the open source automations with webhooks and APIs or Zapier. Hopefully that helped. Okay, so I'm being told this is the last question. I love this deck. Is there a potential franchisee and someone to talk to at Vendasta to get guidance and help walking through the first appointment with a prospect? So it really depends on your relationship with Vendasta. If you have an account manager, reach out to them. If you want this deck, we can probably get it to you. I don't think I put anything crazy in there. And with the help of Rashida, it turned out to be an amazing deck. So we can get that to you if you want to use it. I would modify it for sure just to focus on the franchisee or the franchisor. And then truthfully, you can just build it out from there. If you need to reach out to me at any time, I will try to answer questions. I know a lot of the times after a webinar like this, I get a lot of messages, but I'll have Rashida maybe pull up my connection point here. But I would start with your account manager. Your account manager is there, and I can't stress this enough. The partners that grow with Vendasta quickly are the ones who use what's available to them. And the account managers are literally there to help you scale and grow. If you feel like it's hard to get a hold of them, try again. I feel like our account managers are doing really, really good work for our partners right now. And they are willing to do some meeting prep with you. If you don't have one, again, you can reach out to me and I'll help you any way I can. Maybe it's just walk you through how to present it or put a video together for a bunch of you. But again, you have the resources here available to you. Make sure you're using it. Awesome. Now, I do have just what's coming up. I don't think I talked about this yet, so I'm going to dive into it. You guys, again, thank you for spending some time with us. But next week, August 4th, we have the AI Jumpstart with Social AI. Now, if you guys have been using the social tool for the last couple years, it's great. But we just released Social AI Premium, and it's phenomenal. I have lots of partners using this to build out their social presence by automation. They no longer have to go in and create the posts. They can have and speak to an AI agent that will do it for them. Your presenter for that is Sanjay. He is actually our CMO. It's going to be a really, you guys, this is a CMO talking about exactly what he's good at and the tools he uses to do it. So that is really all I had for you guys today. Feel free to reach out to me or anybody on this call that works at Vendasta. We are excited to work with you. So I don't know, Rashida, do you want to say anything or we're good to go? Okay. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.